The member for Brampton Centre.
Thank you, Speaker. And I'd like to thank the Minister for his statement on National Housing Day. I think that we all understand that housing helps people achieve a decent life. Safe and affordable housing should be a basic human right, a moral and economic obligation and responsibility for all members here in this House. But, Mr. Speaker, on National Housing Day, I think it's important for us to acknowledge that we are in a state of crisis when it comes to housing, not only in this province, but across this beautiful country. In Canada, 3.3 million people like me, people like you, cannot access the housing we need at a rate that we can afford. This is a crisis. 235,000 people in this country are still experiencing homelessness. That means that they do not have a safe place to rest their heads at night. They do not have a safe place to live in dignity. That is not okay. Young people are still struggling to find affordable housing options, whether that is a rental or whether that is the first home we're going to be purchasing. Young people cannot afford to enter the market. And as our rents increase 25% in some instances, many of us are being pushed out onto the streets, experiencing what we call hidden homelessness, sleeping on couches, living in our parents' basements in order to have a safe place. Some people are staying in violent, unpredictable situations in order to have housing. So it's important that we acknowledge that there's still so much more work to do, and I know the minister has acknowledged that, but I think we differ on the types of solutions that are needed in order to address the problems. In fact, Mr. Speaker, what we've seen this government do is cut a significant amount of money out of the budget around housing. We've seen this government cut the Ending Homelessness program by 25%. They have eliminated the housing and homelessness program completely. They've cut $161 million from the Ontario's affordable housing program. They've eliminated the basic income program and frozen OW and ODSP rates so that those people cannot afford those rising rents any further. The minister spoke at great length about the importance of creating affordable housing, but we haven't heard the importance of people, most vulnerable people, like women fleeing domestic violence who cannot find emergency shelters when they need so. People with developmental disabilities who have been waitlisted because of the previous Liberal government's failures to provide supportive housing to those individuals. We see this current government perpetuating that problem rather than making it better. We understand that there's an aging population here in this province, and those seniors are looking for affordable housing options, and yet they hear nothing from this government in terms of addressing a looming crisis for that aging population. On National Housing Day, I encourage all members of this House not to reflect on this and celebrate the gifts we're handing to developers, but to reflect on the work, the real work that needs to happen to ensure that we actually provide innovative solutions, not cut services, that we actually look at building affordable housing well below market rental rates so that people can actually find a safe place to live, that they address the rent control, and that they actually put in measures that will protect people from those landlords who are looking to exploit them, but also make the system fairer so that those landlords are also protected. I'm sure that members on the opposite side of the aisle don't expect us to be advocating for landlords as well, but I understand that we need to have both parties protected in order to find a real solution and address the affordable housing supply problem that we have here in the province. So I encourage the minister, and again, all members of this House, to think about the work we need to do today as we celebrate National Housing Day. Let us reflect on how we're going to provide real solutions to the housing crisis and to the people of this province. Thank you very much.